and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for joining us right here on The Right View. Tonight, we are so excited. We're joined by former Real Housewife, Annemarie Wiley. Annemarie, welcome to the show. I'm so stoked to talk to you. I understand the word on the street has it that maybe you clashed a little with some of your castmates on Real Housewives because of your conservative views. So, how did that all go down, and how was that while you were filming and all of it? Because we know a little bit about that. Imagine that.
Yeah, I bet you do. Thanks so much again for having me on. The clashing, as we're calling it was very kind of confusing, I'll
Mm.
say, and a little bit eerie as well. And I'll tell you why. Because there were two things that the clash and that the media kind of picked up on. And one of them was about trans women competing in women's sports.
Oh,
And the second thing was about my opposition to pedophilia and child pornography. Again, I'll tell you how these things came about. So when it was found that I was going to be filming for the show, a clip resurfaced of my husband from, I think it was a few years ago, him saying that he would not allow our daughters, we have three daughters, to compete against a biological male in sports. And if you know my husband, he has been a public figure for a very long time. He played 10 years in the NFL. He's been a sports broadcaster for a long time. So he's had this platform. So when this clip resurfaced and when I was asked my opinion on it, I simply said that, of course, there are biological differences that exist between biological males and biological females. So, of course, there is an issue of fairness. There is an issue of safety.
yeah.
And I'm someone that I played sports my entire life. I was a collegiate basketball player, and so I agreed with his views on that. And that was not received very well. And then the second thing was I was vilified and attacked for following Candace Owens on social media.
Oh my God.
I know, wild,
How
right?
dare you? The
How
horrors.
how dare I be interested in civil discourse and
Right.
hearing
Right.
views of all people?
Hmm.
So when I explained that, yes, I follow her, I started following her in 2022. Remember when Balenciaga did that very controversial campaign
Yes.
that featured child pornography?
Yep.
So I said, as a mother of four, and just as a human, I was very upset when I saw that campaign, and I was very confused why Hollywood was so silent about it. No one was speaking out against it. She was one of very few people that I saw that was being vocal in opposition to it. And so
Yeah.
I started following her at that time. And I was vilified for that. And I did not understand why I would be vilified for being opposed to child pornography and
Kind of
opposed
shocking,
to
Amory. The fact that we're even talking about somebody who's like, why would you be against that? I'm like very curious what your castmates had to say to that was like, you know what? We're like pro that. Is someone pro child pornography? I'm just like sorry to cut you off, but what?
I can't even speak to that. It was just the fact that I was so shocked that anyone would be in opposition to either of those things.
Yeah.
And so that made me do my own research and kind of look at, well, if those are considered extreme or conservative views, then what is a liberal view now?
Right.
Because I was raised in Canada. I was a lifelong liberal. I've been a Democrat my entire time that I've been in the United States, which is since 2005. So what is a liberal view now? And once I started doing that research and realizing how far away the Democratic Party has moved from what they used to stand for and the things that they now, run on and champion, it stopped aligning with my values. I'm someone that values family and children and truth and common sense. And I'm really surprised that those are even things that are now considered to be radical.
Yeah, it's sort of crazy. I keep kind of sitting back and looking at things. And a lot of people continue to say what I kind of heard you say there, which is that I didn't leave the Democrat Party, they left me. Like things moved so far left and got so extreme and so crazy that people were like, well, wait a minute, what's going on? And it sounds like you had one of those experiences, and you actually said that it was this past election cycle that kind of changed everything for you. And I imagine it's a lot of what you just explained, but was that kind of your aha moment where you were like, wait a minute, if I am saying that I don't want my daughters, and my husband said that he wouldn't want our daughters to put themselves in a dangerous situation by playing in a sport against a male, then like where does that leave me if people are upset that I said that? Was that kind of the moment for you?
That, yes, that was one of the moments for me. It was that, and then looking into, if I'm being vilified for this, what other lies are being, driven in the media? And that's when I, really started to realize what the mainstream media and the legacy media does to people, and the
Mhm.
false narratives that they are constantly pushing, and all of the propaganda that we are being exposed to. And then when you look at during the election cycle, first you have Joe Biden running, and everyone can clearly see that he is in a cognitive decline. Yet the media is telling us, no, he's fine. And then they come out later, no, he's not fine. Sorry. And we're going to have Kamala run. And then during her race, you're, as someone in the Black community, you're having this narrative pushed to you that, you're not really Black if you don't vote for her. And then she's, at her rallies, she's got these women, Sexy Red and whoever, Meg the Stallion, whoever they are, twerking. And you're telling me that is what I'm supposed to vote for? When she's doing her press tours and she can't answer a single question about what she plans to do for our country. She's already been there for the past 4 years.
Yep.
It has not been a beautiful 4 years. Look where we are right now, and we're having to deal with now. So when you can't answer and tell me what you plan to do for our country moving forward, but you can show me a rapper twerking and say, here, this is what I want. This is why I want you to vote for me. That's really embarrassing. And that is showing us that you do not have the competency or the plan to lead us in a positive direction. Yet the media is telling us that this is where we need to go.
Yep.
So it was those things in combination that really made me say, you know what? No, I'm going to stand for my family, for truth, and for common sense. And this is how I'm going to vote this election cycle.
Um, well, kudos to you for having the ability to see that. I think that there are a lot of people, not just the ability to see it, but the ability to speak out about it, because a lot of people kind of felt that way, I think, but then they were like, I'm not going to put myself out there and kind of get mixed up in this because people will attack me and this, that, and the other. But it's interesting. I was just thinking as you were talking about Kamala Harris and that campaign, the whole thing, Amory, was so fake and phony.
Mhm.
I feel like it was all manufactured from the very beginning. All the hype around Kamala Harris, the joy that they were supposed to have at the Democrats convention, all that. I was like, this is so fake and phony. And when she would have those performers come to, I guess, entice people to come to her rallies, if you notice, what would often happen is like after the performers got off the stage and then Kamala came out, a lot of people were like, we're out of here. Bye. We don't really want to stay, around for this. Let me ask you this though, because here's something that gets me kind of like worked up, and it's continued to. Joe Biden chose Kamala Harris, and he told us this because of how she looks, because she was a minority woman. And I'll tell you, having the first woman as vice president of the United States be Kamala Harris, and the disappointment that was. I mean, for all women out there, women are capable, Amory, of doing anything. We could be vice president, we could be president, we could be whatever. But you got to go in there and you've got to actually do something. It for women all around the world who were kind of looking at this as like this historic moment. How did you feel about it? Because I mean, I saw an interview you did, or I think you posted it on your social media where you said, "Yeah, I voted for Joe Biden." Like you vote, you voted for
Did.
them, and then they get in there, and you're just like, This is the best women have to show is Kamala Harris, who's the border czar and can't even go down to the border. Like it's so upsetting to me because the bar, I mean, I don't even know where it stands now. It's just wow. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people really feel like the wool was pulled over their eyes. And I think that's why so many people flipped their vote this
Yeah.
election. And, you know, I'll be the first one to say, would I love to have a female president? Of course. Would I
And I
love to
believe
have
we
a
will. I believe we
yeah,
will.
and would I love to have a black female president? Of course I would.
Sure.
I would love that for our country. I would love that for my daughters to see. But I want it to be someone that I can confidently say I truly feel like is going to do the best job for our country. And I just did not feel that she
Yeah.
was the right candidate for that. You know, she was, again, she couldn't answer any question. She didn't have any plan for our country. The only thing that she was running on really was abortion rights, which of course is a very, very important topic, but that can't be the only thing that you're running
Right.
on, you know? And I also think it's very, you know, it's embarrassing as a woman because we are so capable, because we have come so far, you know?
Yeah.
I don't like thinking that we have to be placed in certain positions just because of how we look or just because we are a woman, right? I
Yeah.
would never want someone to look at me and say, okay, well, you're only a nurse anesthetist because you're a black woman. That is the only reason you got accepted to your school. I'm like, actually, no, I had a 4.2 GPA. That is why I was accepted, you know?
Love it.
And I think those are the things that we need to look at when we're looking at who we are putting into these positions.
Yeah, because everyone has look, this country affords us endless opportunities, right? But you have to work to get wherever it is you want to go in the United States of America. The outcome is not guaranteed. The opportunity is guaranteed. You can make yourself whatever you want in America with hard work. You know, the only limitation you really have is how hard are you willing to work for it and where does your imagination leave you? You know, if you can imagine it, you can envision it and you want to work for it, this is the only country in the world where you can achieve whatever that is, but you got to put in the work and you got to actually do it. And
A
it's just,
hundred percent. A
yeah,
100%. I mean, look, I moved here in 2005. I'm a biracial girl, put up for adoption when she was born. I grew up in a small farm
yeah,
town in Canada, raised by a single mother. I played sports in order to get my undergraduate degree. I moved to Los Angeles as a travel nurse, worked 72 hours a week, became a CRNA, married an NFL player, and now I have this wonderful, beautiful life that I worked so hard for, made good decisions in order to get, and sacrificed. That is
right.
the American dream. And that is afforded to anyone that wants to work and do what is necessary to achieve your goals.
Yep. And that's why we love this country. And that's why we're trying to save that a possibility of the American dream for future generations. Let me ask you this though, because I imagine that having been a Democrat for a long time, having voted for, I assume you voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016.
I became a citizen in 2017. So
Okay.
2020 was my first election.
So you voted for Joe Biden in 2020. Did you have a sense about Donald Trump? Like, did you buy into some of the lies about him or the way that he's been portrayed by the legacy media out there? And then did you have a moment where you like saw a different side of him? I'm just curious, like, where was your journey on all of that? Because you were invited by President Trump to celebrate Black History Month at the White House, and I want to hear all about that. But it's quite, you know, that's a distance to travel in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, it
Hey everybody, Lara Trump here. Imagine you or your loved ones facing a threat. Your instinct might be to use lethal force, but considering a safer and less lethal alternative first avoids legal complications associated with firearms. As a gun owner, I advocate for having options, and Byrna is a leading choice in less lethal self-defense. Proudly assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Byrna's less lethal pistol launcher, loaded with tear gas and kinetic ammunition, can incapacitate an attacker for up to 40 minutes. This gives you plenty of time to escape or seek help while minimizing the chances of permanent harm. Berna isn't just about averting tragedy, it actively saves lives without the repercussions of lethal force. Legal in all 50 states and requiring no background checks, Berna has sold over 500,000 units and it can be shipped directly to your door. After personally testing the Berna pistol, I was honestly impressed by its power and its total ease of use, prompting me to purchase units for my own family and friends. Visit Byrna.com/Lara for 10% off my specially curated bundles. That's BYRNA.com/LARA. Stay safe, America. For years, customers have been asking if My Pillow sells cross necklaces like the one Mike Lindell proudly wears every day. Well, guess what? You're in luck. They are excited to announce that Mike has partnered with a jeweler right here in the USA to create beautiful sterling silver My Crosses. You can save 30% today using promo code Trump at mypillow.com and click on the radio podcast square or call 800-624-3945 and be sure to use promo code Trump. You can choose from the women's or men's style and make sure you do it soon because this amazing offer won't last long. Just go to mypillow.com and click on the radio podcast square or call 800-624-3945 and use promo code Trump.
It is a big shift. Yes, I was very anti-Trump. I remember during the 2020 election, I was very, very anti-Trump, very pro BLM. My husband has always been an independent, so he's kind of, he votes based on the issue, somewhere in between there, which I think is a very intelligent thing to do. Yeah, so I bought into all of the narratives around Donald Trump. I thought he was a terrible person. I thought he was a liar. Thought he was a racist, misogynist. I thought all of the things. But again, now I know what the mainstream media does in order to push their narratives, because if you control the media, you control the mind, right?
Yep.
And so again, that was the path for me. And yeah, going to the White House was incredible. That was a bucket list experience for me. So when I was invited to go, of course I was over the moon. Of course I was going to go. I got so much hate for going, of course. But let me tell you, it was one of the most incredible days because it was full of inspiring, powerful, critical thinkers, people that you're able to have civil discourse with, it was such a refreshing experience to be able to do that and to be around so many people that, didn't just think you were a sellout because you're Black and you're going to Trump's White House, which is
Oh
another
my
narrative that
gosh.
the media loves to push. So it was truly an incredible and empowering experience.
Well, I love to hear that. And, I feel like for people who have come like kind of from one end of the thing of everything to another end of it, you really have seen the full breadth of all of it. And I always wonder, where do you think the general population is right now? Because I think that a lot of people over this past election cycle had a bit of an awakening. And I think even in the past, like even since the election, there are a lot of people who are like, I don't know, maybe Donald Trump is not all these terrible things that we heard about. Do you feel like there are a lot of people who have made a bit of a shift in the kind of same way you did and maybe just aren't as vocal about it?
I do. I truly do. And I know so for a fact because there are, I live in California. I live in Los Angeles. It is a very blue area. And when you speak out as being right of center, moderate, conservative, any of those things, the vitriol you receive is intense. It's very intense. People use their moral high ground to
Mm,
kind of shame you and say, oh, well, you voted that way, you don't care about people, or you're contributing to hate within this community of people that are already oppressed. Like it is very, very divisive, and they are very deliberate in attacking you for that, but yet they spew that you are the one contributing to hate. So there are very large circles of people who are conservative here, yet they are very, very quiet about it. They will talk amongst themselves. They will pretend to their friends that they are not conservative when they really are. And a lot of times they have to do it for professional reasons, whether
yeah.
they're I just posted this morning. I received hundreds of messages from people saying, thank you so much for being vocal on this particular issue of women's sports because I can't even comment on your post without fear of repercussions from work for doing it.
Oh my
So
gosh.
people have really, really gotten there. They're just we are still just not in a landscape where people can be open about it. And another thing about being here as well, the fires that we had
Mm,
in the Palisades and Altadena in
yeah.
January, the terrible mismanagement by our government and the devastating loss that so many Californians suffered because of that has really opened a lot of people's eyes to the way that the priorities, how our priorities are
Hmm.
being handled here in California. We have one of the highest crime rates. We have one of the highest homelessness rates. We pay such high taxes. And now you've got these super affluent areas that have just burned down to the ground because we don't have the simple resources that we need in order to combat a natural disaster. Where is our money going?
Right.
People are really wondering now, where is and where has our money going? And so I think now we're starting to hold our leaders to the fire a little bit and really question those things. And I think a lot of people are either now moving to Orange County, where it is a more conservative area, or they're leaving the state altogether, or they've just decided that, you know what, next election, I'm really going to vote, remembering what just happened and how we were not prioritized.
It's so funny that you say that because I continue to say that I believe, and this is just based on friends of mine who live in California and hearing them say almost exactly, Annemarie, what you just said, which is that the fires woke a lot of people up. And I think that after the fires, you guys are probably going to have a Republican governor of your state. I That's my guess coming up next. And I know that's a stretch. I get it's California, but here's an interesting stat. Do you know that we raised the most money out of the state of California for the Trump campaign, all three election cycles, and the most merchandise we sold from the Trump campaign went to California, all three election cycles? There is a lot of red in California. I get that there's a lot of blue and it's felt like it's overwhelming the red out there, but I think a lot of people are taking a second look at things as you're saying and they're like, I don't know. I don't know how we do it. Either like you said, people are leaving, which I know a lot of people I've talked to or have said we want to move to Florida,
Mhm.
which is where I am. Or I feel like maybe there's a possibility that people are starting to get it and say like, you know what, we could vote for a Republican. Now it's got to be a certain Republican I get for California, but it's not out of the question. What do you think?
Yeah, I think again, California is full of closet conservatives.
Yeah.
And I think as more people start to wake up to the propaganda and the lies that we are being fed, I think people will start to eventually become more and more comfortable with being, open and honest with their views. And, another thing, going back to the high taxes that we pay here, Doge is uncovering unprecedented amounts of waste and
Yeah.
fraud. And I think that people are also starting to see how undeniable that is. The narrative opposing that is, liberals being angry at the people that are uncovering the fraud,
Yeah.
not being angry at the
At the
people
fraud
that are
itself.
the fraud
Yeah.
itself, the
Yeah.
billions and billions of dollars of our hard-earned tax money that are being wasted or that are being pocketed, by our government. And so I think that's something as well that, Californians are really starting to wake up to because our taxes are so high and we're like, what are we paying for
Yeah,
here?
so where's the water in the fire hydrants? Like what did it get us? Paring back the fire department during the time when wildfires are prevalent? Like that's just common sense. I mean, you guys also had that rail project from LA to San Francisco that I don't know that anything has been done on it. I think it was estimated to be at like a some certain number $30 billion or something, and now it's already over 100 billion or something crazy like that. And I
Yeah.
don't think any of it's been built. So good question to ask. Like, where's the money going? Before I let you go, tell us about Project Transition and what the foundation does.
So my husband and I started our nonprofit Project Transition in 2017. We were both, those fork in the road kids that came from very humble beginnings, and we were lucky that we had people and resources in order to help us get, pass those challenges in our lives. So we work to educate and empower youth in underserved communities. We provide funding, we provide resources, we provide experiences to make sure that kids are able to overcome those hurdles in their lives and make sure that their challenges aren't going to be what are holding them back from achieving their dreams. So you can go to
Oh.
projecttransition.org, read more about our mission, donate, let us know if you'd like to be involved, and it's an amazing community of people and an amazing cause.
Oh, well, that's amazing that you guys do that. That you took where you started and you said, you know what, we got to help other kids who are in a similar situation. And it must make your kids proud. How old are all your kids?
So my stepdaughter is 25, our son is 9, and then our girls are 5 and 6.
Oh
So
my
we have four.
gosh. Yeah, I mean, you know what? To look at their parents, you guys are obviously great parents. You clearly care about your kids and other kids out there, and that's it's awesome, and we need more of it. I love to see more of that, and I just want to say thank you, Annemarie. Thanks for being willing to truly speak your mind and your heart. I think that the messages you get from people, I'm sure give you a sense, but it really matters. It really matters that people are willing to put themselves out there and say, you know what, I get it. I get that I'll get criticized for this, but this is the right thing to do. And this is my opinion. That's how this country was supposed to work. We're supposed to have differing ideas and we're supposed to be able to talk about them in a civilized way. But
Yeah.
you're inspirational, and I'm grateful you did it. And thanks for coming on with me today as well. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And yes, bring back the days of civil discourse because I
Yes.
think we are severely lacking it in this country. And I think that it will go a long way to heal so many wounds that we are experiencing and to bridge this divide.
Amen to that. Well, Annemarie Wiley, thanks for joining us. To everybody at home, as always, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow. And we'll see you back here next time for more of The Right View. And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide, and they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.